In today's society, every time we turn on television, we are constantly flooded with images of rich, successful, beautiful actors, models, and television personalities. We see their lives as perfect, without any problems or cares in the world. But that's not entirely true. Most of you are familiar with the television host Ty Pennington of the show Extreme Makeovers Home Edition. But what many of you do not know is that Ty suffers from attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. As a child, Ty's parents noticed his inability to sit still, his inability to focus, and his constant disruptive behavior in class. It became such a problem that Ty's parents had to take him to the doctor's office. And after his symptoms were assessed, they diagnosed him with minimal brain dysfunction. Well, his mother knew that wasn't the case. She knew her son had the ability to do the task set before them. So she began to diagnose his symptoms on her own time to try to help him. She came across a technique known as the token system. This system consisted of giving her son tokens in exchange for good behavior for extra time doing something that he loved to do, which just so happened to be building with his erector set. For a time, this system did work and helped Ty with his focal abilities, but he still struggled throughout his school years. Uh, After an attempt at college, Ty dropped out because he couldn't his inability to focus in the lack of the college structured environment. Um, and in the 80s, while he was 17, they came out with the term ADHD, and he was prescribed stimulants to help ease his symptoms. Well, it helped so much that Ty re-enrolled in college and graduated from the Art Institute of Atlanta with honors, and the rest is history. Many children in America today struggle through life going undiagnosed with this disorder, and sometimes miss out on their true potential. And those who are diagnosed, although they feel it's a godsend, are not met without opposition from those that feel that this diagnosis and treatment are dangerous. They protest that the children are being overdiagnosed and simply drugged just to make life simpler for parents and teachers in the school system. ADHD is a problem with inattentiveness, overactivity, impulsiveness, or a combination of those things. This disorder is the most commonly diagnosed behavioral disorder in childhood. It affects 3 to 5% of school-aged children, um, and is most often diagnosed in boys rather than girls. There is no clear factor as to what causes ADHD, but it does seem to run in families, and it seems to always have an onset early on in a child's life. To be diagnosed with ADHD, there are very specific symptoms which must be present in more than one setting. And once properly diagnosed, children who receive both behavioral treatment and medications often have the best chance of successfully coping with this disorder. The medications commonly prescribed are Adderall, Focaline, and Ritalin. These are known as psychostimulants. Although these medications are administered to a person without the disorder, this person will react like they've had too much caffeine, and they have all this energy, but it has the opposite effect on people with the ADHD disorder. It has a calming effect on them. This treatment has helped millions of children become more focused and able to complete tasks set before them, and it has helped them to lead productive lives. But ADHD and its diagnosis and treatment have been considered controversial since it emerged. The controversies have involved clinicians, teachers, policymakers, parents, and the media. Opinions regarding ADHD range from that it doesn't exist at all, to all believing there are genetic and physiological basis for the condition, as well as disagreements about the use of the stimulant medication used to treat the symptoms and its long-term effects. Although most healthcare providers in the U.S. accept that ADHD is a genuine diagnosis and they completely support its treatment, ADHD is mostly controversial in part because most children are diagnosed and treated based on decisions made by parents and teachers being the primary source of the diagnostic information. Some research raises questions about the long-term effectiveness and side effects of medications used to treat ADHD. Studies have shown that stimulants offer no benefits over behavioral management and reducing ADHD symptoms for periods of over 3 years. Other side effects of concerns include addiction, growth retardation, suicidal thoughts, and effects on the heart. This has led to many seeking non-drug treatments such as omega-3 oils, which has been known to help with the ADHD symptoms. In 2006, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration voted to recommend a black box warning describing the cardiovascular risk of using these stimulants to treat ADHD. And the U.S. National Institute of Health, also known as NHI, released a statement stating that they support the diagnosis and treatment of ADHD, but they do feel that there is a need for more research in that area. The media has reported on many issues related to this disorder, and in 2001, PBS's Frontline um, aired a 1 hour program about the effects and diagnosis and treatment of the ADHD disorder in minors entitled Medicating Kids. The program included interviews with different representatives and psychologists, mainly retired neurologist Fred Bogman and Peter Bregman, who PBS described as outspoken critics against ADHD, and they insist that it is a fraud perpetrated by the psychiatric and pharmaceutical companies on families anxious to understand their children's behavior. Basically, they feel they're just out to make money off of parents or people in the in society. Um, a number of notable individuals have given controversial opinions on ADHD. Mainly Tom Cruise, who did an interview with Matt Lauer, which was widely publicized. In his interview, he spoke about postpartum depression, also referred to Ritalin as being just street drugs um, rather than ADHD medication. Neil Bush, the brother of former President Judge W. Bush, also did a documentary called "The Drugging of Our Children," and in the trailer of the film, he stated just because it is easy to drug a kid and get them to be compliant doesn't make it right for us to do it. But even with all of its opposition, millions still feel that ADHD is a valid disorder, and they continue to use the prescribed medications in order to help their children. Approximately 9.5% or 5.4 million children between 4 to 17 years of age have been diagnosed with ADHD in 2007, as of 2007. And this diagnosis has been supported by many and has been disputed by others. It is a disorder that affects all races, sexes, and financial situations. Ty Pennington is an example of how that treatment helped turn his life around, and in turn, he has been able to help countless others. So remember, the next time you turn on your television and you see a famous person, don't forget that their lives could be complicated with the same situations as ours. Thank you.